Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take your sources, find those critical nuggets, and, well, give you the blueprint for knowledge. Today, we are diving deep into career selection. And what's really fascinating, I think, is that the guidance we're looking at, it's highly structured, originally designed to teach language.
Yeah, it's surprising, isn't it?
But somehow, hidden inside this pretty simple format is this powerful, really tactical framework for figuring out maybe the biggest question of adult life. How do you choose the right job?
It's an incredible synergy, really. The creators used, the rigid rules of grammar to basically enforce strategic self-reflection. The immediate goal might have been vocabulary, sure, but the lasting impact, it's this comprehensive structure that forces you, the learner listening right now, to link your internal, maybe abstract preferences to actual external, concrete professional duties.
Right.
So our mission today is clear. We're not learning grammar, obviously. We're extracting the high-leverage bits of this strategy, making sure you can connect your preferences, your daily activities, and ultimately, your purpose. Exactly. We're skipping the syntax lesson.
Yeah.
Going straight for the actionable life advice. We often get bogged down by career books, tons of abstract psych assessments. But this guidance, it's almost brutally simple, and maybe that's why it's so brilliantly effective. So let's unpack this blueprint. We should probably start with that linguistic foundation the source insists on for any real self-assessment. Okay, so if you're trying to do an honest self-assessment, you need clear language, right? Define language. Otherwise, you risk just falling back on vague stuff.
Absolutely. Vague generalities don't help anyone make a decision.
And the core of this whole framework seems to hinge on 3 specific verbs and this critical grammatical rule, a rule that makes sure you focus on action, not just ideas.
That's right. The 3 verbs are super simple, like enjoy and hate. Straightforward.
Okay.
And the rule, this sort of non-negotiable rule in this self-assessment game, is that when you're describing an activity, these verbs have to be followed by the verbing form, the gerund, or, sometimes a noun, but the focus really needs to be on that gerund, the action. I think this is the hidden genius of it. Like if you just say, I like marketing, well, that's a noun.
Right.
It's abstract. Marketing, that could be anything, couldn't it? Designing graphics, staring at spreadsheets, or running client campaigns. It's just too broad to be useful for self-assessment.
Precisely. The structure demands specificity. It forces it. If you have to use the gerund, you must describe the actual repeatable actions that make up your workday.
Okay.
So instead of I like marketing, you've got to figure out, do I enjoy analyzing consumer data? Or maybe I like writing persuasive copy. Or perhaps I absolutely hate cold calling potential clients. Easy. The gerund describes an ongoing, continuous action. It keeps your focus squarely on the daily grind, not just the glossy job title.
That's the psychological key, isn't it? You live in the gerund. Your day-to-day is the gerund. The source gives perfect examples. I like cooking. I enjoy working with people. I hate waking up early. The focus is always, always on the definite action, the thing you actually do, repeatedly.
And we shouldn't just brush over the intensity difference between those 3 verbs. The guide uses them purposefully, like a scale.
Okay, how so?
Well, is a preference. It's tolerable, it's fine, maybe even a bit pleasant. But enjoy. That's the core fuel. That describes the activities that give you deep internal satisfaction, real energy.
Right.
If you truly enjoy something, that activity really should be making up the bulk of your professional time.
Damn hate.
Conversely, hate is the friction. It's the cost of entry for the job you want, the stuff you have to put up with.
So if you say you just like organizing files, okay, that means you can handle admin work, fine.
Sure.
But if you enjoy complex problem solving, then the job has to be built around solving those problems. Otherwise, you're using your core energy on these sort of peripheral-like activities.
Which leads straight to boredom or burnout eventually.
Yeah, makes sense.
The depth of satisfaction you feel for an activity should really dictate the percentage of your daily work it takes up. If you're spending, say, 80% of your time on tasks you only like or merely tolerate, even if the pay is great, you're actively minimizing your potential for core professional satisfaction. It's just not sustainable long term.
This analysis of preference, using these specific verbs and actions, brings us straight to the next piece. The vocabulary of the workplace. The actual activities you'll be doing day in, day out.
Yeah, the source cleverly shifts the focus here. Away from general preferences, I like nature or I want to help people, towards specific quantifiable work tasks.
Because the job title is just shorthand, isn't it?
Totally. It's convenient, but the activities stuffed inside that title are what determine your happiness or misery.
Okay.
And the structure we're dissecting provided this really crucial list of vocational actions.
Right.
These are the things you should be trying to link back to your, enjoy or hate verbs.
Right. So we're talking about concrete actions like attend meetings, write reports, teach students, serve customers,
fix machines, answer emails, manage projects.
Yeah, these are like the building blocks of almost every professional role in some combination. So let's connect the two ideas now. The preference language, like enjoy, hate plus ing, and this activity vocabulary. For you, the listener, you should literally be asking yourself, do I enjoy attending meetings or do I hate attending meetings?
Exactly.
Do I like writing reports? Or maybe I enjoy teaching students? The real insight comes from getting that specific.
And, when we look at that list of activities, we can actually start to categorize them. And doing that categorization, that's the first major step in filtering potential careers.
Oh, interesting. How would you break them down?
Well, I see maybe 4 key buckets of professional duty emerging from that list.
Okay.
First, you've got leadership and strategy. Things like attend meetings and manage projects. These need orchestration, oversight, planning.
Right, the big picture stuff.
Second, client interaction or service. Activities like serve customers or teach students. These are the human-facing roles. They need empathy, good communication, patience.
Got it. People-focused.
Third, administrative or support tasks, like write reports and answer emails. This is the necessary stuff, the oil in the machine, needed for organization and communication within any system.
The background work that makes things run.
And fourth, technical or specialized skills, things like fix machines, or you could extend the list easily to analyze data or write code. These require specific, deep domain expertise.
Okay, so understanding which of those 4 buckets, leadership, client interaction, admin, or technical, you naturally lean towards. Or, maybe even more importantly, which bucket you absolutely despise.
Yes. Despise is a powerful filter.
That's the beginning of the strategic hunt, isn't it? If you know you enjoy managing projects, leadership, you should probably start eliminating careers that are mainly technical and solitary, or purely admin-focused.
Exactly. That deliberate act of pairing, like enjoy or hate, with a specific verbing work activity makes the job search immediately tactical. It gives you concrete filters.
It moves you past just dreaming about a job title.
And into the practical reality of the day-to-day. Lots of people want to be leaders in theory, but they don't actually enjoy attending all the organizational meetings required to be a leader.
Right. The reality is different from the idea.
This framework forces you to confront that potential misalignment nice and early, before you invest years in the wrong path.
Okay, so we've established the language, the tools for self-reflection. Now let's shift gears to the strategic architecture the guide provides.
Right, the bigger picture.
Our source material lays out this core thesis, basically defining the right job as the place where 3 specific elements come together. It's like the central equation for career happiness.
Yeah, and it's deceptively simple, but really powerful. Skills, interests, and values.
Skills, interests, values. Okay.
This 3-part framework is, I think, the ultimate diagnostic tool. Most standard career advice. It tends to focus heavily on just 2 of these skills and interests, what you're good at and what you like. But leaving out that third one, values or lifestyle. That's where so many professional plans fall apart. It's the missing piece.
So we need to analyze the 3 critical questions that structure this self-assessment.
Exactly. These questions get to the heart of each pillar.
Okay, first pillar, what do I like doing? This is the interests pillar, right?
Yep. Purely internal. It aligns perfectly with that enjoy and language we were just talking about. It's about passion. What stimulates you mentally? What draws you in?
Got it. Second, what am I good at? That's the skills pillar.
Right. And this requires a more objective look. It's about your actual aptitude, your proven capability. It has to be separate from just desire.
How so?
Well, you might like the idea of playing the piano. You might even enjoy tinkering on it. But if you're not actually skilled at it after practice, it's probably not going to be a viable profession,
Okay, that makes sense. Skill versus enjoyment.
Need both for a career.
And third, what lifestyle do I want? This is the values pillar. And you said this is the big one.
It really is. It covers so much ground. Work-life balance, obviously, but also location preferences, tolerance for certain work environments, noise, stress, pace, and crucially, the non-monetary returns you value: time, flexibility, impact.
Okay, let's dig into the interplay here, because having just one or two isn't enough, is it?
Definitely not. Consider this. If you have high interest but low skill in something, you just get frustration. You love the idea, but you can't execute.
Right. And what if you have high skill but low interest? Say you're a fantastic accountant, truly gifted with numbers, but secretly, you hate spreadsheets. You dread them. What happens then?
That's the classic recipe for psychological burnout, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're proficient, maybe you even succeed financially because you're good at it, but you dread Monday morning because you're incredibly efficient at doing something that fundamentally drains your soul.
Ugh. That's the interception of skill and interest without the actual enjoyment or passion.
Exactly. And the source material actually shows how combining these elements points you towards specific job fields.
Give us an example.
Okay, so if you enjoy helping people, that's your interest A&D. You are naturally patient and good at clear communication. Those are your skills. Well, that combination points you strongly toward high-touch fields like nursing or teaching, maybe counseling, fields where those specific skills serve that core interest.
Okay. And another one.
If your interest lies in solving complex puzzles A&D, your skill set involves working with specialized technology or logical deduction, that immediately targets fields like IT or engineering or maybe specialized research.
Right. So the strategic insight isn't really about landing on a specific job title initially.
No, not at first.
It's about identifying that fertile ground, that area where your natural aptitude meets what actually fuels you mentally.
Precisely. Now let's tackle the elephant in the room. That third pillar, the lifestyle values factor.
Yeah, you said this is the one most job seekers overlook, especially early on.
Very much so. Early in careers, money often seems like the primary, maybe the only variable that matters. Everything else feels secondary.
But the guide specifically notes that some jobs are just really busy, right? Demanding huge hours, lots of intensity, high-stakes decisions maybe, while others are slower paced, allow for more free time, more predictability. And this speaks directly to personal values and that trade-off between time and money.
Absolutely. Let's imagine two software engineers. Both genuinely enjoy solving problems with code, and both are highly skilled at it. Their skill and interest pillars align perfectly.
Okay.
But engineer A values novelty, prestige, and maybe a really high financial reward. They're perfectly willing to work 70-hour weeks for a high-flying startup to get that.
Right. High risk, high reward type.
Whereas engineer B deeply values family time, low stress, and stability. Their priority is being home every night at 5:30 p.m. reliably.
Okay, very different priorities.
Very different values. Now, their ideal job title might be identical on paper, senior software engineer, but their actual job, the specific role and company, should be radically different to make them happy. Engineer A might thrive at a global tech firm, hitting intense deadlines, maybe launching new products.
Right.
Engineer B, they'd likely find much more happiness working for, say, a municipal government, maintaining critical but stable infrastructure systems. Less glamour, perhaps, but it meets their lifestyle needs.
Wow. So the job title is the same, but the experience, the lifestyle dictated by the role and environment. That's completely different.
And that lifestyle piece, the values pillar, acts as the ultimate veto power. If you ignore it, even a perfect match of skill and interest will likely fail eventually.
Why?
Because the work environment, the demands, the culture, it dictates a way of life. And if that life conflicts fundamentally with your core personal values, it's just not sustainable. You'll burn out or feel resentful or just unhappy.
So a truly strategic job search must assess those non-monetary returns, the time, the stress level, the environment, just as carefully as the salary offer.
Without a doubt, it's the only way to find a fit that lasts.
Okay, to make this framework less abstract and more, concrete, the guide shares a great little case study. Marco.
Yes, Marco's story. It's a perfect illustration.
It really powerfully shows how a mismatch in that lifestyle or activity factor can just instantly override even positive interest alignment.
That's right. So Marco's first job was in a typical corporate office, and he stated clearly he liked the people he worked with.
So a positive social element, right?
Yeah.
Interest alignment there. The environment wasn't toxic or anything.
Exactly. But the key friction point, it was immediate and physical. He hated sitting all day.
Hated sitting all day. That's specific.
Very specific. And for him, it was a profound mismatch with his desired activity level, his preferred lifestyle. It wasn't just a minor irritation.
No, it sounds like it was a daily conflict that just wore him down, affecting his well-being.
Yeah.
The office was probably fine, maybe the work was okay, but the sheer physical reality of being sedentary, hour after hour.
That was the deal breaker. And because he recognized that precise conflict, that hate sitting all day component, using the framework's language, he was able to make a pretty radical career pivot.
What did he do?
He shifted from office work to become a teacher.
Ah, okay. Big change.
Huge change. But his new role successfully aligned all three pillars. He enjoys talking and helping students. That's the interest. He's presumably good at communicating. That's the skill. And crucially for him, he enjoys moving around the classroom.
The activity lifestyle fit. He wasn't sitting all day anymore.
Exactly. Successful alignment across the board.
The lesson there seems to be, when the specific activity you hate is something physical or environmental like sitting or standing constantly or dealing with extreme noise or temperature, it's often a non-negotiable factor.
It really can be. It can force a change, regardless of how much you might like the core function of the job.
Which leads us nicely into the whole reality of trade-offs. This was maybe the most strategically useful part of the guidance, I thought.
I agree. The source included this mini practice activity, and its genius was forcing the learner you listening to internalize the fact that even the best jobs, the most ideal ones, contain necessary evils.
Right. The specific tasks you will inevitably hate doing, but have to do anyway.
Understanding these friction points up front is just critical for setting realistic expectations. Let's revisit those examples they gave, because they really teach us about the necessary administrative burden or physical cost that underpins almost every profession.
Okay, where should we start?
Let's start with the teacher. The satisfaction is clear, right? I enjoy teaching students. That's the core purpose, the reward. But what's the inevitable trade-off? What's the hate factor likely to be?
Probably all the grading, lesson planning, parent meetings, administrative paperwork.
Exactly. The required hours spent marking papers, preparing lessons, dealing with administrative compliance. The teacher has to tolerate, maybe even mildly dislike, those administrative gerunds to get access to the core joy of teaching students.
It's the price of admission.
Precisely. Then look at the doctor, their primary purpose. Hugely motivating. I like helping sick people. High skill, high interest, high value to society. Noble stuff.
Definitely. But the trade-off, what do doctors often complain about?
Paperwork. They hate paperwork. It's almost a cliche, but it's often true. And it's probably the biggest source of professional fatigue for many.
And that paperwork isn't optional, is it? It's insurance billing, regulatory compliance forms, legal documentation, detailed patient charting.
Hours and hours of it. Tedious, low-interest admin tasks. But they must be done because they form the necessary foundation for the high-interest clinical work of actually treating patients. The trade-off is crystal clear. Administrative necessity versus clinical reward.
Okay, what about the waiter example?
The waiter presents a really clear physical versus social trade-off. Their reward comes from social satisfaction. I enjoy meeting new people. They thrive on that interaction, the buzz, the social complexity.
Right, the people part is the draw.
But the corresponding cost. Often it's physical exhaustion. They hate standing all day, walking miles around the restaurant floor, carrying heavy trays.
So they're essentially trading physical comfort for social engagement.
Exactly. For that person, the fatigue is worth the reward of novelty and constant social interaction. But if they valued physical comfort more highly, they'd need a totally different career, maybe something more solitary or sedentary.
It all comes back to those personal values and what you prioritize.
It does. And finally, the engineer. Again, a strong match of skill and interest. I like solving problems. They love tackling technical challenges, finding solutions.
A core technical work is the enjoy part.
Yes, but modern engineering, especially in larger companies, requires a ton of collaboration. So the friction point. The managerial or organizational demand. They often hate long meetings. The dreaded meetings.
Right. But that friction exists for a reason. Solving complex problems in a team setting requires coordination, resource allocation discussions, getting buy-in from stakeholders.
All things that tend to happen in meetings?
Unfortunately, yes.
No.
So the engineer has to tolerate the demands of communication and organization, the meetings, the reports, the presentations, to secure the time, budget, and support needed to actually do their core technical passion, solving the problem. The trade-off is managerial communication versus focused technical execution.
Wow. Looking at it that way is really clarifying.
And the profound insight here, the absolute key takeaway for you, the learner, is that you must try to identify and consciously accept these non-negotiable trade-offs before you commit to a path.
So you go in with your eyes open.
Exactly. If you know deep down that you absolutely cannot tolerate endless administrative tasks, you need to actively seek a career path designed to minimize those burdens.
Yeah.
Even if it means sacrificing some other aspect, like maybe peak salary or a certain type of project. It's about proactively identifying the friction you can live with. We often chase the idea of the perfect job. But maybe this framework suggests we should be looking for the job where the stuff we enjoy significantly outweighs the stuff we're merely willing to tolerate, or even actively hate but accept as necessary.
That's it. Precisely. Strategic career planning becomes less about finding some mythical perfection and more about managing a set of acceptable flaws, finding the right balance for you.
Okay, so we've pulled apart the language of preference. We've got the strategic framework of the 3 pillars: skills, interests, values, and we've faced the reality of trade-offs.
We've covered a lot of ground on the why and what.
Yeah. So now let's shift from that self-diagnostic phase to the really practical steps. What does the source material actually advise for securing a job that fits this blueprint you've built?
Right, the how. The first practical tip flows directly from everything we've discussed. It's the absolute foundation. Know yourself.
Know yourself. Sounds simple.
The instruction itself is simple. Write down what you like and dislike.
But based on our deep dive, we know this isn't just like random journaling, is it?
Not at all. This is a strategic exercise using that specific language we identified earlier. You should literally be writing down those high-leverage gerunds, the actions.
So things like, I enjoy presenting complex findings, or I like managing the logistical details of events, and crucially, I hate answering disorganized client inquiries. That level of detail.
Exactly. This forces you to create an explicit preference inventory, a concrete list. And by making those preferences explicit, writing them down, you create a tangible checklist.
Okay, and how do you use that checklist?
You use it later to cross-reference with actual job descriptions. And even more importantly, you use it to prepare for interview questions. When an interviewer inevitably asks, so what kind of work environment do you thrive in? Or what kind of tasks do you enjoy most?
You already have your list of specific activities, the gerunds that you know energize you, and the ones that drain you.
Exactly. You're not fumbling for an answer. You've done the work.
Okay, makes sense. What's the second step?
The second step is research jobs. Now, the source advises looking online, obviously.
Standard advice.
But it adds a crucial layer. More importantly, ask friends. Talk to professional contacts, reach out to people on LinkedIn, do informational interviews to learn what the job is really like on the inside.
This sounds like bridging the gap between the shiny job description and the daily grind reality.
That's exactly what it is. Online descriptions. They tend to focus on outcomes, deliverables, the highlight reel, but a real conversation with someone currently doing the work. That gives you the critical details, the actual breakdown of daily activities, the culture, and yes, those inevitable trade-offs we talked about.
So if you're researching, say, a finance role, the job description might say, develop strategic financial models. Sounds impressive, right? High-level stuff.
Very appealing.
But by talking to a friend who's actually in that role, you might discover that realistically 60% of their time is spent cleaning messy, horrible legacy data, the part they probably hate, before they can even start developing the cool model, the part they enjoy.
That's a classic example. You have to get past the job title and the bullet points and understand the actual time allocation across different daily activities. What does the average Tuesday really look like?
Right. Okay, step 3.
Step 3 is get experience. This is about actively seeking out ways to test the waters, volunteering opportunities, internships, maybe relevant part-time jobs in the field or industry you're considering.
So this is like the testing ground for your hypothesis about yourself.
Precisely. You might hypothesize, based on your self-assessment, tip 1, and your research, tip 2, that you'd absolutely love working in a chaotic, fast-paced startup environment. Sounds exciting.
Yeah.
But until you actually spend, say, 3 months doing a low-stakes internship, testing that lifestyle hypothesis in the real world, you won't truly know if that chaos genuinely energizes you or if it just leaves you completely frazzled and drained by lunchtime every day.
That experiential data is invaluable, isn't it? It's not theoretical anymore.
It's the best data you can get. It lets you test the alignment of all 3 pillars, skills, interests, and lifestyle before you make a huge commitment, like years of your life or thousands in tuition fees.
Yeah. Better to discover you actually hate debugging code during a summer internship
than after you've already completed a 4-year specialized computer science degree. It's fundamentally about risk mitigation, disguised as gaining experience. Smart career planning involves testing your assumptions.
Okay, makes total sense. And the final piece of practical advice.
The final instruction is maybe more about mindset, but it's critical for managing expectations during this whole strategic process. Be patient.
Easier said than done sometimes.
Tell me about it. But the guidance specifically reminds us that finding the right job, the one that actually aligns skills, interests, and values and features trade-offs you can genuinely live with it, usually takes time.
It's not an overnight thing.
Definitely not. This addresses the emotional reality of the job search. Strategic career planning isn't like ordering takeout. It's not an immediate fix. It requires real time to properly implement Tip 1, that deep self-knowledge, Tip 2, the granular research and networking, and Tip 3, gathering that crucial experiential data.
And if you rush the process?
If you rush, you almost guarantee that you'll end up prioritizing the easiest factor to assess, which is usually money or maybe just perceived prestige over the much more important long-term factors of genuine skill fit, intrinsic interest, and sustainable lifestyle alignment. Patience allows for diligence. It lets the process work. #𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏.
Wow. Okay, so this deep dive, which, remember, we extracted from what was initially just simple language guidance. It's really provided a rigorously structured way to think about career selection. We've definitely moved from the abstract to the intensely practical.
Yeah, it's a surprisingly robust framework hidden in plain sight.
So let's quickly summarize those key high-leverage takeaways for you, the learner listening in.
Sounds good. First, I'd say it's about mastering that language of preference. Strategically using like enjoy and hate, and always pairing them with the active verbing form, the gerund, to define your repeatable daily activities with brutal honesty.
Right, keeping the focus on the reality of the work, not just the idea.
Exactly. Second, embedding that strategic framework. Actively seeking your professional sweet spot where your skills, your interests, and your values lifestyle needs all converge.
And remembering that the third pillar, values or lifestyle, often holds the ultimate veto power, even over a seemingly perfect skill-interest match.
Couldn't agree more. And third, the conscious acceptance of trade-offs. Knowing, going in, that every job, even your dream job, will contain necessary tasks or elements you'll probably hate, and that your long-term strategic success hinges on identifying and accepting those necessary burdens in order to access your core professional reward.
Yeah, managing expectations about perfection. And as the original material wraps up, it offers this final sort of grounding principle. Choosing a job isn't just about the money. Fundamentally, it's about finding something you genuinely enjoy doing, that you're actually skilled at, and, importantly, where you feel you can learn and grow.
The financial rewards, ideally, should be the result of achieving that alignment, not the primary driver or cause of it.
Which brings us right back to that reality of friction, those trade-offs.
Yeah.
We know now that things like administrative tasks or long meetings or maybe physical discomfort, they're often the necessary price of admission into a career that's otherwise deeply rewarding.
It's part of the deal.
So for you, the learner, as you continue your own career exploration, we'll leave you with this provocative thought to maybe mull over, something to guide your search. Which specific activity, which gerund are you truly willing to hate in your professional life day after day if performing that disliked task is what allows you to consistently enjoy your core purpose?
Finding the answer to that question, identifying your most acceptable trade-off, that specific personal metric, might just be the key that guides you to a truly lasting and fulfilling career choice.